All right, welcome everybody to our very first webinar of financial accounting. We will have these webinars weekly, usually on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Central Time. I know we have a few people in potentially in other time zones, so and try to keep it to where it is somewhat manageable if somebody wants to get on and participate in one of the webinars, okay? If you can't make it, don't panic. It's not a big deal. There's no extra credit or participation or anything like that for being on the webinar. The benefit you get from it is to being able to ask questions live and go through and get clarification on things, basically, that you may not understand as we go through each of the chapters. So I do need some participants in order to record the session, so and some questions. So hopefully you guys will get really comfortable with these. I know not many instructors do them, but it's something that I like to do. I'll give you a little background on myself. Right now, I currently am working full time as a senior ERP implementation consultant. So basically, what that means is I install all the systems that uh, run companies from beginning to end. So from the operations side, logistics, manufacturing, distribution, accounting, finance, marketing, automation, customer relationship management, e-commerce. I help build websites, things like that. So I've had a pretty long background in accounting and finance. That's what I started out as, and that's what I went to school for. I've got a bachelor's in finance, a master's, an MBA in accounting and finance, another master's in education, and right now I'm also getting my doctorate in management. So I too am a student right now. um, so I understand, the things that you guys go through. I'm very sympathetic to them. I can tell you, I respect all of your time. I know everybody is very busy, especially those that are both going to school and working full time. I totally get that. So I understand the things that can come up. However, I'd, also ask that you guys make this a priority and understand that we have to maintain the deadlines, right? So, in addition to my job and my doctoral degree, obviously I'm teaching for you guys. This 8 weeks is I'm solely dedicated to you. So there's two sections of this class, and you know, so I am here for you. I'm here to help you, and I commit to you that I will, try to respond to your questions within 24 hours. Um, One great way to get a hold of me is via text or email. During the day, it's hard for me to answer a phone call because usually I'm already on a phone call. If you saw my Outlook calendar, you would see that typically I am booked back to back on phone calls from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So if you need something urgently, please text me or email me, and I will do my best to answer you in the evenings. If I can't answer it right away, most of the time I can answer it right away, and you know, we'll go from there. So, any questions so far on how to get a hold of me?
No.
Okay, perfect. So, what I want to do tonight, because I know this is the first day of class officially, I want to give you a tour of Blackboard, where everything is housed, and how I'll kind of lay out the course as we go along with the recordings of these webinars and anything that we might add. Okay, and talk about the assignments, the deadlines, expectations, how I need your homework to be completed, things like that, and pretty much just lay out for you, what it's going to take for you to get an A in the class. And believe me, completely possible. I know accounting is one of the most intimidating classes that a lot of students take, especially in their undergraduate. but I think you'll come out of this class having learned a tremendous amount of information, and stuff that is really truly applicable to even, your own life. Okay. Um, It'll give you a better respect for, why accounting is so nitpicky with certain things. I know that we have, a lot of, sorry, we're getting a lot of background noise. I'm gonna, I'm just gonna mute everybody for right now. If you need to be unmuted, if you have a question or something, just unmute yourself, okay? So I know that this can be intimidating, and I know that accounting is difficult for a lot of people. What I want you to think about as we're going through this is accounting is literally just a set of processes, okay? Don't think about it as, these complex, hard math problems. It's not. It's addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. That's it. And just understanding where things fall on certain financial statements. So I promise you, as we go through this, I'll explain everything, make sure you understand how things operate, and, really get you to hone in on the basics of accounting, because that's what this class is going to do. We're going to go through the basics of accounting, and everything builds. So you have to do your work sequentially, and you have to master what's in these initial chapters, because it will continue to build, and you'll have to continue to understand that stuff. And through managerial accounting, which I also teach, you'll then carry it even further, even deeper into more of the operational side of accounting, especially in terms of like manufacturing and cost accounting and stuff like that. Okay, so it sounds intimidating, but I think once we get done with it, it'll all make sense. Okay, so just hang with me and feel free at any time to ask questions. Okay. So how do you guys feel so far? Is everything, feel pretty good about it? And you can unmute yourself.
Yes.
All right, awesome. All right, so good, Jennifer. It's okay to be nervous, but you'll be good. Okay. So definitely don't ever hesitate to ask me questions. If I don't get questions from people, I start getting worried, because this is one of those subjects that if you're not getting questions, nobody's learning anything and nobody's participating. So I need you engaged, and I need you asking questions. There isn't a dumb question. Don't feel like you're the only one that doesn't know this stuff. I promise you, asking questions helps not just you, it helps your entire class. And I'm not just saying that, I mean it. I haven't mastered the art of mind reading, so I don't know what your questions are unless you actually ask them. Okay? All right, so let's start out with talking about Blackboard. I know we've got some people that are brand new to McKendree, especially McKendree Online and Blackboard, so I want to take about 5 minutes just to kind of go through the orientation of this whole system, and so that you can kind of understand where I put things, where to look for things like that. Okay, so first of all, this is your home page. This is what you come into when you first log in, right? And you're going to see here announcements that I put out there, and your view might be just slightly different than what mine is. Okay, but you should see these announcements. So for instance, this is our webinar. This is where I'm going to house my link to go to my webinar and my call-in and everything. And each week I'll post one of these and post, it's literally going to be the same link. So you can use the first one if you can't find my new one. So you just go click on this link or call in this number, put in the access code, and you're good. Okay, so all those announcements will be here. This one is your welcome announcement, and it basically gives you the 8 steps that I want you to prepare yourself for. Make sure that you have gone in and read the syllabus. Guys, I know it sounds basic, but you need to read the syllabus. You need to look at the dates, look at your due dates. I'm going to make it very, very easy for you. Thursdays by midnight, okay, so by 11:59 p.m., you have to turn in your homework. That doesn't change except in week 8. In week 8, on Monday, your homework is due, okay? And it's because week 8 is our last week. It's a short week. And so Thursday is the end of our class. So we have to shorten the schedule, okay? On Sundays, your quizzes and your midterm in week 4 will be due at 11:59 p.m. Not at 12:01, not at 1 a.m. on your midterm. It has to be in Sunday by 11:59 p.m. That is very, very, very important. Okay. I have to post grades by a certain time, so I cannot accept late work. If you don't turn it in on time, and I've had people that have done it, then I'm sorry, but it will be a 0 for that particular grade. Okay. Um, and that's 350 points, I think, of your grade. So it would make it very difficult at that point to pass the class. So a little bit of advice coming from one student to another and one professor to all of her students: plan ahead. Make sure that you don't procrastinate and that you don't expect that life won't happen. Okay? Because life will happen when you least expect it. I promise you. Okay? Um, so make sure that you're planning ahead. I always tell everybody on the midterm, because it's an online test, so it'll be multiple choice. I do not time it, but you do have to complete it in one session. So that means you have to sit down and you have to take it all in one session. I took the timer off of it so that you can work through, look at your homework, look at your notes and things like that. Midterm and final are both open book, open notes. Okay? However, don't expect that you're not going to need a break or, something like that. So it's probably going to take you some time to go through that midterm. Okay? So just be prepared for that. The final is a take-home final, open book, open notes. I highly encourage you to actually work 2 or 3 problems a night and then turn it in. So start working on it at least a week in advance. And you can do that because it's a cumulative final, and you'll be able to tell, the chapters that each of the problems cover. Okay, so you can go out and take a look at it. It's actually there now. You can see what you have to get ready for if that's what you want to prepare for. Totally fine with that. I don't really want you working ahead and trying to do it now and turning it in now, because we have a lot to go through over these 8 weeks, and you need to be fully engaged and learning and listening to the pre-recorded webinar that I've done several semesters back, but also listening to our Q&A webinars to get up-to-date current information as well. So just follow along with us, okay? And we'll all get there. All right. Does anybody have any questions so far on the home screen or like the homework as far as when things are due?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay, so I will post all of our announcements here. There will possibly be some opportunities for extra credit. So we'll just kind of move along with that. Okay. From here, you can see here's the instructor page, and that actually has my email address and my what says work phone. That is actually my cell phone. Okay, so go ahead, and if you need to text me on that, that's fine. I respond to texts pretty quick. Please make sure the first time you text me that you tell me who you are, because I also get a lot of spam and junk. So I want to make sure that I answer you. So just make sure you identify yourself in that text, and then I'll save your number in my phone so that if you have to ask me any more questions, I'll know who it is. Okay. Um, Syllabus is right here. Click on it and you can download it, right? It pops up and there it is. Okay. So it basically just takes you through everything that we're going to go over in those 8 weeks, right? This is the critical part. Here's your course calendar. Okay. This tells you the practice problems that you're supposed to work. It tells you the homework problems that you're supposed to work. Pay attention to the P1-1A, P1-6A, okay, or exercise. These are problems. These are exercises that start with E, and these are the sample exercises, right? So the practice problems, let's talk about this real quick. The practice problems are for you to work to get a better mastery of the very basic concepts, okay? They are already listed with the answers on the website in each module, okay? However, so you can actually go through and see how they're worked and study them and everything else, and they will be a good guide for you to start working on these homework problems, okay? As well as the webinars. The webinars are going to be key because I actually go through how to work a lot of these homework problems on those webinars, both the pre-recorded ones and the ones that we have for Q&A, okay? So if you have questions, the Q&A webinars that we're going to have will be the way for you to ask those questions. All right, if you don't understand how to work something or why something is. Okay. So the homework problems are the only problems that you turn in. You do not turn in the practice problems. Okay. Now, homework. Very, very important that you listen carefully. I only accept homework and the final exam in an Excel document. Okay? That is the only type of document that I will accept them in. I will not accept them in Word. I will not accept a PDF. I need it in Excel. The reason why is because throughout this class, I'm going to teach you how to use formulas to do calculations in Excel. All right? So I want to see that you're not only mastering how to do these problems, but you're also mastering how to use Excel. This is critical, guys. I have not been in a single job in the past 20 some odd years, which probably ages me, that I haven't had to use Excel. So from the time that I started my bachelor's degree in college and started working back in the late 90s, okay, I have had to use Excel at every single position that I've had, and it's required me to use formulas. So for those of you that, haven't maybe had an office position or a business position yet, you'll get it once you start working, in your field of study, okay? And it's just extremely critical that you understand how to use Excel and how to do these even basic formulas, like how to sum a column, right? So it's not that it's going to be extremely difficult, that you're going to have to, do complex if-then formulas and things like that. You can get there through the use of YouTube and, training. That's not hard. But for this class, we're going to do stuff that's very basic just to get you exposed to it. Okay? So this is going to help you in your career, whether you go into accounting or not. HR does this. They do all kinds of reporting. Management definitely uses it constantly. So, any type of position, logistics, operational, anything is going to use Excel. So that's the reason that I do this. So even if you have a question in your homework that, requires you write out an answer, just write it out. Make sure that it's formatted nicely, maybe merge the cell with about 10 other cells or something and left justify it, right? So you can make it look nice even in Excel, okay? So please keep that in mind. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Yeah, I do have a quick question. Do you
Sure.
want us to put each problem on its own tab, or
No.
just one big long sheet?
Yes, that is a fantastic question, and thank you for bringing that up. I want it on one sheet. It makes it much easier to grade when I just have to scroll down one sheet. So just keep it all to the left, put it in one column, and just let me scroll down. Because what I do is I go over off to the right in like column K or L or O or something like that, and I'll actually put like my notes or my marks off or what have you in those columns over there, and then I'll sum it, okay, at the bottom to get your grade, right? So it makes it much easier if it's on one worksheet. So hang on just a minute, I'll show you what I mean. Let me get, so here's a workbook. You see there's only one sheet here. So just start typing your answers over here, and you can use a couple of columns to do it, right? Don't feel like you have to keep it all right here. Make it organized and look neat and everything else, right? Over here, but keep it going down. So like you would do 1 dash A or something like that. And then down here, you're going to do 2 dash B, right? And just keep on going down, 3C, right? And you do have, so that you're aware, you have some Excel templates in here. So there's a tutorial, and then there's this worksheet master, right? So this is what I mean when I refer to the templates. And like here's a beginning balance, here's a sales journal, here's a purchase journal, cash receipts journal, payments, general journal, etc. Right? Here's a worksheet, here's an income statement, owner's equity statement, balance sheet, accounts receivable subledger, accounts payable subledger, etc. So you've got examples of pretty much everything that you're going to need in this one master. And again, I got that over here in course documents, worksheet masters. Okay. You're going to see some other stuff in here, like here's an Excel tutorial. I also highly recommend that rather than using this necessarily, that you go out to YouTube and just search for Excel. And you may want to come on. So you can go out here and you can see like introductions to different things. Excel for accounting, formulas, VLOOKUP, index, pivot tables, things like that. Okay, here's a beginner's guide to Excel for 2017. This is a good place to start, right? So there's different ones you can put in if you have a specific version that you're looking for. Like let's say you have 2010 on your computer, you can put that in here and you can find Excel tutorials on 2010 so that it's not so vastly different than say Office 365, right? So just go out here, good place to find all kinds of tutorials. YouTube will save your life through going through school if there's something that you don't know, how to do. And to be honest with you, I still use it even in my doctoral degree. I mean, there's things like SPS statistics, which is a software that helps you do statistical analysis for quantitative studies and things like that, which I know is way far over the top right now, but don't be afraid to go out there and use it. Just make sure that what you're using is truly specific to, what you're looking to do. Okay. All right. So anybody have any questions on that right now? Good. Okay. So in addition to the homework problems, these are the only ones you turn in. So for Module 1, you'll see we have chapters 1 and 2, and these problems right here are the ones that you turn in. For Module 2, that's next week, and you'll see their homework due dates, and here's your quiz due date as well. Okay, on the weeks that we have an exam, which is in week 4, it's due September the 26th, which is Sunday by 11:59 p.m. Okay. Final is due October 19th. That's our last day of class together, which is a Thursday by 11:59 p.m. Again, I can't accept it a minute late. We have grades due very quickly thereafter, so I need all the time I can get, getting everything graded and get your final grades calculated, which I know we're going to have 100% A's, right, in both classes. Can I get a applause there? All right. I got a few people chatting saying, of course. and right. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm sure you've all read the syllabus and you understand that. So let's talk about a couple of these other things in course documents that I've put out there. So here is a linking the 3 financial statements cheat sheet. This is going to be pretty hard to understand in some cases, but it does kind of get you an idea if you really study it. I mean, it's going to take you some time to study this, okay? If you really study it and the directions and things like that, it can be very helpful, okay? Another one that I put out here is a debit and credit cheat sheet. And that one is in Word. So here's kind of the way the debits and credits work out. It's just a quick way to look at this, right? And this will make more sense once we get into those chapters. So I just put it out there again for your reference. There's more of these out there online. Pick one that works for you, okay? Don't have to use mine. I just wanted to give you some sort of reference, okay? All right, next, we've covered the syllabus, the course documents. Let's get into the modules. So the modules, each week we're going to have a different module. You'll see module 1 is our current week. Okay, it tells you again, what are my practice problems? What's my homework assignment for chapters 1 and chapters 2? Okay, here's the homework assignments due date. And you'll notice the very next line, the reason that I can't accept late assignments. Okay? Homework assignment solutions are going to be posted the very next morning automatically at 8:30 a.m. Okay? So that is the reason why I can't accept a late assignment, because obviously you're going to have the answers to it the next morning. Okay? I do that because I want you to see, here's how this works. I'll give you the grade of what you've completed and, what you've, clearly put a lot of thought into and tried to work out right. I will give you credit, a majority of credit, even for effort. Okay? If you got a couple wrong, you didn't get the answers right, I'm going to trust that the next day when you get those answers, that you are going through your homework with that answer key and looking at what you missed. Now, if you want an A in the class and you want to be successful, you will master those homework answer keys to your homework answers, and you'll do it each week. Here's why I say don't wait until the midterm, don't wait until the final, okay? again, accounting builds every single week. So if you didn't get something in week 1, you're not going to get it in week 2. And it's going to get harder and harder and harder to catch up. So you have to discipline yourself and take the time to actually go in, take 20 minutes, 30 minutes, on Friday, and take a look at your homework, take a look at your homework answer key, compare the two, and see what you did wrong or what you did right. You may have gotten it all right. Okay. So just make sure you're doing that, because if you understand everything going from week to week, it's going to make your study time when you get to your midterm so much easier. So much easier. Okay. And I also encourage you to make sure you make notes and things like that, because it will really help you understand these concepts a lot better along the way. All right. Okay, so homework, module 1, you'll see module 2. Let's just go into one of these. Okay, so you click into the module, right? And you can see everything that's available. So here's your module 1 practice problems. You click on that document, it's going to download the answers for you to the practice problems. You can see right now, I can see the module 1 homework solutions. However, they won't be available until Friday at 8:30 a.m. Okay? Here's your chapter 1 and 2 quiz. Okay? Once you enter this quiz, listen carefully, once you enter this quiz, you have to finish it. You can't just walk away and not finish it. It will time out on you. Okay? So if you don't answer something for I think it's 15 minutes or 30 minutes, it's going to time out on you and it'll be considered graded. Okay? So if you take the time to study my study guides that I've also provided, then you will do very well on the quizzes. All right? And again, I can't say that enough either. A lot of students forget that I put these study guides out here. Those study guides are there for a reason. And once you study them and you take a look at the questions that are on those study guides that I ask you to answer on your own with your book, you'll realize if you do that, I've had students go straight through the class making perfect scores on every one of the quizzes that did it. Okay? So it's not impossible. Just make sure you're using the materials that I put out there for you. Okay? And then, of course, here's the pre-recorded webinar. Okay? So these webinars were recorded one of my first semesters teaching this class. So it may have reference to me being on vacation or something like that. Don't pay any attention to those, okay? Just watch the webinar for the content. Watch the webinar for what I go over in terms of what you need to know in the chapter, okay? Or how to do the problems, right? Then make sure you're doing that before you come on to our Tuesday call, our Tuesday Q&A webinar, because you'll be prepared then to ask questions about the exam or about the homework problems, okay, that you don't yet have the answers to. Okay? Does that make sense so far? Everybody with me? All good? Okay. All right. So that's what's in here. There's also a PowerPoint with VoiceOver. And let me just show you how to deal with those PowerPoints with VoiceOver. So you download it just like you would any of these others, right? And here it is, right? And then you're going to see this little speaker in the middle of it. When you press the play button, there's actually a lecture. Okay? So there's actually a lecture that's involved with these PowerPoints. All right, so you can go through, and this basically takes you through the chapter and gives you kind of what we would consider a lecture on the chapter. Okay, so there's the PowerPoint. Make sure you're doing that as well. And then, of course, you can go down here and see your grades, right? There's the course evaluation when we get towards the end of the course, okay? And there's also, of course, our discussion boards as well, where you have the opportunity to go in and put your biography if you've not already done so. There is a questions for instructor discussion board, but I encourage you guys to actually email me those questions rather than put them out here because I more quickly see my email. That comes directly to my phone at all times, so I get to them a lot quicker. Okay, and I'm not going to miss something. Okay, so please email me, get onto the webinars, and ask questions. Okay. If you can't make a webinar and you have a question, let's talk about that. Email me the question ahead of time and I will cover it on the webinar. Okay, so if for some reason, you've got to work or something like that, email me the question on the webinar. Okay, and I'll make sure to go over it. All right. Okay, so any questions so far about logistics, how you maneuver through the discussion boards and things like that? Or Blackboard at all? Okay. No questions so far? Let's see. Oh, study guide. For the study guide, somebody asked where that is. So the first study guide is over here in course documents, the module 1 study guide. However, after that, in module 2 and moving forward, you'll see the study guide in each module. Does that make sense, Tabitha? Perfect. Awesome. All right. One thing that I wanted to kind of step through and go through with you as well is your book. Okay, so I have an online book that we get as instructors. So some things to know about your book. All right, hopefully everybody has their book. And hopefully everybody has started going through it already. Okay, so the book is laid out in a way in which we actually go through the actually I think it's laid out pretty well in going through the entire accounting process. Okay, so the first chapters is basically talking about business organizations and things of that nature, and you'll see, it goes through the different types of organizations like a sole proprietorship, partnership, and corporation. It is important to know the terms in the chapters, okay, and it is important to know, to understand everything that is talked about. Don't skip over the tables and stuff that are in here in the illustrations because they really do a nice job summarizing what's in the text. Okay, so don't skip those. All right, you are going to have to know, basically the entire process of accounting, like the differences in here in terms of activities of a business, like financing activities, investing activities, and operating activities. There's different components of that, so it's important that you understand that. And this is basically looking at it from a whole company perspective, okay? My first webinar actually goes through all of this stuff, so I'm not going to go through all of it with you tonight because I want everybody to take the time to read their first 2 chapters, kind of get used to the book, and listen to that first webinar, okay? Once you get through the chapter itself, okay, you're going to see some things like, for instance, Um, One thing that's super important in Chapter 1 is the generally accepted accounting principles. This is what we call GAAP in accounting, right? And this is extremely important because this is basically the set of rules that tell accountants how they have to, process transactions and, you know, basically how they're supposed to operate. Okay, we follow this very, very rigidly in the accounting world. Okay, there's a reason for it. Their names are Enron and uh, Smith. Shoot, just left me. But Enron's a good one. Um, so when all of the stuff went down, probably 10, 15 years ago, early 2000s, that's when a lot of these GAAP principles and SOX compliance and things like that really, really came up. Okay. FASB, the Financial Accounting Standards Board, and the SEC, two very important agencies that regulate accounting and regulate financial reporting in our country with our public companies and even with private companies. Okay. So those are things important to note. And you're going to hear me talking a lot about those standards and oversight. So again, accounting is just a set of rules and a set of processes. That's all it is. Okay. So don't get scared by the problems. All right. So chapter talks about that a lot. Then we get down here into the financial statements. And I'll make this very, very simple for the financial statements. You're going to have really, we talk about 4 financial statements, but there's really 3 main statements that you have a lot of interaction with in accounting. Okay. That's the income statement, the balance sheet, the statement of cash flows, and the statement of stockholders' equity. Income statement and the balance sheet are the 2 easiest to understand. Okay, they're also the 2 most commonly used for analysis and for reporting purposes. The statement of cash flows does also come into play a lot, but it's probably in the list of reporting things, it's like the last thing that everybody reports on. Okay, because the income statement and the balance sheet will actually tell you the picture of the statement of cash flows and the statement of stockholders' equity. Okay, they all interlink and intertwine. All right, so if you have an entry on the income statement, like revenue, you're going to have an entry on the balance sheet that is either to cash, if they paid cash for it, or to accounts receivable, if they put it on credit. Okay, so if a client put something on credit, or a customer, right? So you have a very nicely laid out set of financial statements that basically the income statement is everything that came in, right? So it's all of your revenue, it's all of your or sales. That's the other thing that they call revenue, okay? Or your expenses. That's basically what it is, and it gives you your net income, hence why they call it the income statement, okay? So the balance sheet then shows you all of your assets and liabilities. That's actually the sheet that really makes a big difference in a company, okay, and can tell you the story of a company. So here's what I meant when I said accounting and learning this can make a difference in your life. There's a couple of ways. Accounting isn't just about, doing your taxes and things like that. Accounting is also being able to analyze a company and say whether or not it's performing well. Okay? Companies that have terrible balance sheets are probably in trouble. Okay? Companies that have a ton of liabilities, you might want to think twice, especially if their cash or their assets can't support those liabilities, or if they don't have, a lot of stockholders' equity, right? So there are things to look at, and this is going to help you through your life when it comes to investing, in companies when it comes to thinking about who do I want to go to work for? Because I can tell you right now, most companies that you want to go to work for, especially if they're a public company, you can get the financial statements on them all day long through the SEC. Okay? So that information is out there and it's typically public, right? So you want to go look at your public companies, like you want to go look at AT&T, you want to go look at even Anheuser-Busch or InBev, or you want to go look at World, uh, I was going to say WorldCom, that's a really old one. But you want to go look at these companies like United Healthcare, is a big recruiting presence in a lot of places. Okay, Dell, technology sector, Microsoft. The ERP that I actually implement is called NetSuite. It's the largest and fastest growing cloud um, ERP platform in the world, and Oracle just bought it. Oracle is huge. Okay. So you want to go look at these companies and see what they're doing and how they're managing their assets and things like that. And knowing accounting helps you be able to do that. Okay. So if you can read their financial statements, I don't care if you're going into HR, if you can read a financial statement and figure out how a company's doing, it's actually going to give you a better leg up on the job that you're about to take, right? And understanding what that company's got going on. Okay? So don't think just because you're maybe not an accounting major that you don't, that you just need to get through this. Use this class to actually help you in your own personal life, in your career, in achieving, investment strategy, things like that. Okay? Does that make sense, everyone? Okay. All right, good. So once we get down through the chapter, you'll see that you've got different notes and things like that from financial statements. Let's see, let's get down here further. You get a summary of your learning objectives, you've got key terms and things like that, and then you start in with your questions. Now, here's what I want to caution you on. You've got these short, what they call short exercises. That's the SE abbreviation in your practice problems. Okay? The exercises are anything labeled E and then either set A, so EA, and then the problem, or EB, and then the problem, and then you've got your problem sets, so like problem set A, right? So you'll see P1-1A. So make sure that when you take a look at that syllabus, you're finding the correct problem and working it. So for instance, right here we have P1-1A. Well, I just showed you that one. P1-1A, right? So here is that problem. This is the problem that you're going to work, okay? So just go through your syllabus and make sure that you're working the correct problems. I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody that did the wrong problem set. Okay, make sure you're in the homework column and make sure you're doing the right module, the right problems. Okay? Any questions? All right, so who's ready to get started? Are you still with me? All right, awesome. All right, so don't worry too much in week one. I can tell you right now, to put your mind at ease. I want you to go through and do the problems. Make sure that, that you follow the instructions. Make sure you do your assignments in Excel. Don't turn in a Word document to me because I can't accept it. And I'll just turn it right back to you and say you need to put this in Excel. Okay, so make sure you do an Excel document for me. All right. And somebody asked it would be okay to use Google Sheets. Yes, I know how to use Google Sheets, but I would really prefer to see it in Excel. However, if all you have access to is Google Sheets, then I will accept it. Just make sure that when you send it to me that the link actually works, because I have had problems in the past where the Google Sheet link didn't work or something wasn't saved right. Okay, so just make sure that what you're sending me is what you mean to send me. Make sure to check your work and make sure to ask questions. Okay, so that's our week 1, module 1 Q&A session. Do you guys have any questions that I can answer now? Anything about chapters 1 or 2 that, maybe somebody has already looked at it? Anything? Not yet? Okay. All right. All right. So, make sure the problems that require the answers to be in paragraph, yes, still answer those in Excel. So, for instance, if you go in, hang on just a minute. So, like for instance, P-1-1A, you can put, just do it. The income statement, blah. I don't know what the question is, but you get what I'm doing here. And then you can actually go in and highlight, a couple of rows, hit merge and center and left justify it or something like that, so that, it looks better. Okay? So that's how I would answer a paragraph. Or if you have to do like A, B, C, and then this one is 500, this one is 100, this one is 200, something like that. Okay. All right. All right. Did I miss any questions? I know you guys are chatting me. I just want to make sure that I haven't missed anything. Okay. All right, so going forward, probably our Q&A sessions, just to set your expectations, will probably not last very long unless you guys have questions to ask. So usually in the past few semesters, they've been like 15 to 20 minutes long. Okay. First session's always a little bit more because I want you guys to feel comfortable and just understand, kind of what my expectations are for you, and just kind of get to hear everything that we're going to be doing. Okay. If you have any questions and you're not comfortable reaching out via the webinar, please email me. And I usually don't put names with questions or anything when they're emailed. Please feel free to text me, or if you want to call me in the evenings. I usually am finished by 6 p.m. Central Time. So I'm happy to take a call after that. Just please, if you would, maybe text me or something. I do usually answer my phone, but I know we're all getting a lot of those robocalls lately where, it's a telemarketer or something. So just let me know if for some reason I don't answer your call that you're trying to call to ask a question. So, but I will definitely get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Obviously questions on grades or anything else, shoot me an email and I'll definitely answer that. If you want me to give you a call, just give me your number, what have you. I'm usually really easy to reach, really easy to work with, and very happy to help. So I'm here to help you guys be successful, and that's exactly what I want to see. I would love to see a class full of A's. Okay, and I know everybody can do it. I did it. At one point, I was in this very same position as you, and it wasn't that long ago. So, please, 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 by all means, use the information that I have to learn. Okay? And Diana, you have one last question. You can unmute yourself and talk if you want, if you can. Here, I'll unmute you. The homework is P1-1A to P1- No. No. That's a great question. I'm glad you called that out. The homework is P1-1A, that problem, and P1-6A. So it's only 2 problems. Okay? So you're doing this problem right here, this P1-1A, and then you're skipping down and going to P1-6. Whoa, went too far. Got a little too scroll happy. There we go. This P1-6A. Okay? Make sense? Cool. Great questions. Okay. All right. Anything else? Any other questions, concerns, requests? Again, this is your class, guys. I hold you guys accountable for, the work that you put in, and I also hold you accountable for the class. So if we're doing something and it's not working for you, if you have suggestions along the way, the one thing that you'll find about me is I'm an open book in terms of, accepting feedback. Okay, as long as it's constructive, obviously. So learn to always give constructive feedback in terms of, hey, this really isn't working for me. Could we possibly, do this instead? So try to come up with something that you think will work for you. Okay, always, whenever you present a problem to somebody, also try to give recommendations for a solution. Okay, help people help you, right? So, just make sure that any feedback is very constructive and respectful, and just kind of, own this class, own your accountability for your success in this class. Okay, you're going to find that I have a very, very, very big amount of respect for students in general, and the things that you go through and that you prepare for, right? So I'm here to help. I'm here to kind of be a mentor along the way, and just let's have a great 8 weeks, and hopefully I get you for 16 weeks, and when you do managerial. Okay. All right, guys. Anything else? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, everybody have a great evening. And again, don't hesitate to reach out. And I will get this webinar posted to our announcements and to your Module 1 documents. It'll probably be a YouTube link. So just look for that coming here this evening. And then we'll meet again next week on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central. All right? You are very welcome. Have a wonderful evening and great week, guys. Talk to you later.